Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Dan Reviews It, the concert edition. I've yet to do a concert review on the channel here, but I do go see a fair amount of shows, and a couple years ago my sister-in-law suggested I do like some blogs about, the concerts I've been to. Well, I figured I've got the new Dan Reviews It channel here on YouTube. Why not do a concert review, and maybe it'll be the first of many if I get some good feedback on it. So this one is for the Metallica show on last Friday in Philadelphia at the Lincoln Financial Field where the Eagles play football. So huge show. And Avenged Sevenfold was supposed to be there, but that was the day that there was a baby born in the Avenged family to Sinister's wife or girlfriend, to be honest, I don't know. So they were absent. Volbeat played, but we got there a little bit later, kind of between Volbeat and Metallica. So I didn't see them, but I did see the mighty Metallica. And if you can tell from my shirt here, the Big Four shirt, this is not the first time I've seen Metallica. I saw them at the Big Four show a few years ago in Yankee Stadium, which was, them and Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth, which was awesome. And then I saw them before that in 2000 at this festival. I don't even know what it was, but it was on July 4th, and it was like them, Papa Roach, Kid Rock, all these early 2000s rock acts. Powerman 5000 was there, Korn, I believe. But anyway, so this was my third time seeing them, and really, I guess the first time at their own show. I mean, they did play a full set at the Big Four, but they played for over 2 hours here at this show. So let's go down the list. I mean, basically, they played 5 songs from the new album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, and then everything else came from 1991 or before. Black Album, all the way back. So it sort of struck me as kind of odd that they're cutting out 25 years of their entire discography. But so we started out with Hardwired, which was the first single title track from the new album. Then another new song, Atlas Rise, and then they went to some classics, Whom the Bell Tolls, Creeping Death, Unforgiven, and then 2 more new ones, Now That We're Dead, which ended with this really cool drum circle with all 4 guys in the band just beating the hell out of these drums. It was really cool. So that was the closer to that song. And then they went to another new one, another of the singles, Moth into Flame, then back to Wherever I May Roam, and then the final new one, Halo on Fire. And then the rest of the show was just classic after classic. So it was Motor Breath, then Sad But True, One, Master of Puppets, Fade to Black, Seek and Destroy, and then they leave the stage, and then the encore, listen to this, is Battery, Nothing Else Matters, and Enter Sandman. So, I mean, the set list was great. My only complaint really is the cutting off of 25 years of their history. Look, I know that they got a lot of flack for some of the things like Saint Anger, which was not that good of an album, to be honest, but their last album had a few good songs on it. I like some of the 90s stuff, Load, Reload. I know that they're sort of embarrassed, I guess, maybe by some of that stuff, but I love it. They played a little teensy bit of I Disappear as sort of a, not a medley, but a, crossover between songs, I guess. Maybe James was changing guitars or whatever, but so it was cool to hear that. I thought they were going to go into it. I was so excited because I Disappear is a great song, but they didn't. They just played a little intro. So the Baltimore show, which one of my friends that I went with was also at the Baltimore show, and instead of Creeping Death, they did play Fuel at that one, which, okay, so that is mid-90s stuff, cool. And then the other change-up was they didn't play Battery. I forget what the other one they played was. But so, there's a couple of changeovers. But for the most part, they stick to the huge hits and then, stuff from the new record. So the other problem is a lot of their songs are 7-8 minutes long. So even though they played over 2 hours, they only played 18 songs. So when you have, say, 10 to 12 songs that you have to play, it doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room. And I think that's a shame because, for one thing, if you've seen Metallica before, well, you've seen all these songs except for the brand new ones. And if you haven't, then that's cool. You get to see a lot of the old classics. But if you haven't, after almost 40 years of the band's existence, 35 years, are you really going to care whether you hear Battery or not, or Creeping Death? Maybe not. So, for one thing, with Avenged Sevenfold out, I thought, hey, maybe they'll go on, they'll play 20, 25 more minutes, 3 or 4 more songs. Well, I guess 20 minutes would be 2 songs for them, but, whatever. Play 3 or 4 more songs that they don't usually play. Or play everything at all the concerts, play Creeping Death and Fuel, and everything. So you get a complete, I don't expect them to play songs that they haven't rehearsed or whatever for this tour, but, if they're playing Fuel on some dates and Creeping Death on others, why not play them both? Avenged wasn't there, so we missed out on, 45 minutes of music there. So, and nothing against Avenged Sevenfold, the dude had to be there for his wife, I understand that, and there is apparently a makeup date in June for Avenged to play, which I don't think I'll be going to. It just seems, I live about 2 hours from Philly, so to go down just for Avenged, probably not. But I had never seen them, so I was looking forward to it. But I just thought it would be a good opportunity for Metallica to play a little longer. So, yeah, that's really my biggest criticism, is that I wish that there weren't so many songs that they were like, okay, we gotta play this. I mean, obviously, look, they gotta play, Sandman, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Master of Puppets, obviously they have to play the real big ones. But I think there's some even hits that they could kind of toss out. I mean, Wherever I May Roam is a great song, but it's like, you're playing, Sad But True, Enter Sandman, Nothing Else Matters, The Unforgiven. You're already playing 4 hits off that album. You can probably do without that one. Battery, I'm good with them changing that out every other night or whatever. Same with Creeping Death, obviously that's not, an instant. But the best part of the show for me was One. One is, in my opinion, the greatest Metallica song there is. Now, hit-wise, probably Enter Sandman or Master of Puppets, I would say. I mean, chart-wise, it's obviously Enter Sandman, but I would say, biggest fan hit, is probably one of those 2 songs. But for me, the song One is just brilliant. I mean, it's the first song I ever heard from Metallica. I remember watching the video on, it wasn't TRL at that time, I guess it was Dial MTV, in 1989, and one of my buddies at school was a huge Metallica fan. I was in, I think, 6th grade at the time, or maybe 7th, but I said to him, I was like, oh my god, they played a Metallica video last night on MTV, or Dial MTV, it was, #1 video, it was the song One, and right from the start, the video is excellent, so that hooked me, but just the lyrics of the song, the message in the song, and everything they could do with it at the show. They play video clips of war stuff. They have, fireworks going off to represent, gunfire. So that was, for me, the highlight of the show. And speaking of which, I mean, their stage production, the lighting, the video clips, was all great. They really know how to put on a show. And at the Big Four, they weren't really able to do that just because they only played 4 different shows, so it wasn't a whole, they didn't have a whole, set with, visual cues and fireworks and lighting cues and all that stuff. So it was a little more pared down. It was just the music mainly. So this was a great, experience to see everything, their whole staging. They played a clip of their movie Through the Never at one point. They had quite a few video clips, and whoever was working the cameras too up on the stage with them did an excellent job, really. So so that was cool. Definitely glad I went. We had pretty good seats. We were in the 100 section. We were in section 110 at that particular place, but it was directly across from the stage. So yeah, we were far away, but we saw everything head on. So that was cool. The set list, look, I liked the new songs they played. I just wish there was something represented, from the last 25 years. It would, it would be like I'm going to see U2 this summer as well. And obviously it's the 35th or the 25th anniversary of Joshua Tree, so they're going to 30th anniversary, I should say, 1987. So they're going to play that whole album. But, it would be like them just completely forgetting everything after Octung Baby, not playing Beautiful Day, not playing Walk On, and I'm sure they're going to play some of those songs, you know? So I can appreciate that the hardcore fans want to hear the old stuff, but most of them have already been to a Metallica concert, so they've heard it. I would have loved to hear The Day That Never Comes, or The Memory Remains, or I Disappear, like I said. So, you know, look, I'm not the biggest Metallica fan, certainly. I know, plenty of people that know the entire catalog backwards and forwards, but I definitely am a fan. I own all of the albums, a lot of the import singles too, with some of the live cuts and the B-sides and everything. So I'd say I'm a pretty solid fan. But do I need to hear Battery again, or could I have heard something that maybe I wouldn't expect them to play? Some kind of Monster or something. Yeah, I would have, to be honest. But overall, it was a great show. I'm glad I went. I do wish in Sevenfold's absence they would have played an extra 2 or 3 songs. I think that would have been cool. So for that and for the missing 25 years of their catalog, I'm going to leave it with a B+. Glad I went for sure. They put on a hell of a show. If you have the chance to see them, I do recommend it. But certainly, a few minor flaws there. But alright, so that is my first concert review. I hope you liked it. I'm going to a bunch of shows this summer, so if this video gets a lot of hits, maybe I'll do some reviews on that. I'm going to see Mumford & Sons in a couple of weeks. Like I already mentioned, U2's coming up, the Gorillaz. There's a bunch of shows I'm seeing. So Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So we'll see. Maybe you'll see some more of these concert reviews up. But in the meantime, you can check out a bunch of the movie reviews that are up. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Snatched will be on deck here momentarily. Hopefully Merlin will join me for a King Arthur review. I've already seen that. And then some TV stuff starting to pop up on the channel as well. Riverdale reviews coming up, and as well X-File reviews. So, and also the Chris Cornell tribute. He passed away from an apparent suicide, and that was just awful, awful news. Huge Soundgarden and Audioslave fan, and a fan of Chris just in general. So you can check that out as well. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and tell your friends, right? We'll talk to you later. See ya.